All right. Okay, welcome back everyone. Today we're going to be finishing up this passport wallet that I was working on last week. So it's almost done here. Basically, what we have to do is just sew up all of these edges here and then sand, bevel, and burnish, and then it'll be done. So I'm going to do that with you guys today. And let's see, we've got our thread all cut out here ready and tangled up. There we go. I've got my needles on one thread already, and then I've got this one for the other side. So we'll bring it over to my sewing station. Grab this. And bring you guys over here. Okay. Make sure you can see this okay. Okay, and we're ready to get started here. feel like we need some music playing or something. It's probably just going to be a lot of me sewing. I don't know exactly how long it takes to sew up this part. But I mean, I'm almost halfway done with this side. Flip this around so you can see it. This battery's getting a little low, looks like. Okay. So we've got one side all stitched up here. Just have to do the other side now. And if you want, I can give kind of like a quick little tutorial on how to saddle stitch. So first I gotta get my thread ready and the needles. You want one piece of thread and you'll put a needle on either side. As a general rule, you kind of want your thread to be about 4 times the length of your project, whatever you're sewing. And if you have a smaller project, like say you're only sewing this much here, you might need slightly more than 4 times this length. And then if you're sewing a lot more, like if you're doing a bag or something, you probably don't need quite as much as 4 times the length. You could do like 3. You kind of get used to it after a while, but as a general rule, 4 times the length of your project, whatever you're sewing. And then for the needle, hopefully you can see it since it's small, you just want to put your thread through the eye. And then what I do is I'll just take the thread, and instead of like knotting it or anything, I'll just stab the thread right through the middle. So it looks kind of like this. You've got it coming through the eye here, and then there, and I just pull it all the way through and tighten it. And I used to do it twice. I'll show you what I used to do. But I just found for a lot of things it's not completely necessary, unless you're doing something like a bag. Maybe you'd want to do it twice, but and what I mean by that is like you'll stab through the thread once and then do it a second time like that, so it's kind of double secure. But I honestly usually only do it once and it's fine. You just kind of want to make sure that there's generally an equal amount of thread on either side, otherwise it can break off. Tighten that up. So we've got both of our needles ready on the same piece of thread. And what we want to do, you'll start with your first stitch. And I usually, I think I do this a little different from other leather crafters that I've seen. But I like to have the stitches going towards me. If you can see that, they're slanted and they're kind of heading this way towards me. And then I also like to have the part that I punched through, I don't know how to explain this. The part that I punched through, I have on the left side. So you can tell that I put the pricking irons through on this side. And then this back side, you can see how the stitches are the holes are a lot smaller. Because I punched them through starting on this side, if that makes sense. So I have that side on the left, where like whichever side was facing up when I was punching the holes, that's what will be facing left. And then I like to have the holes going up towards me. Again, I think I do this a little differently from other leather crafters. I am left-handed as well, so that probably is why. But I start, let's see. So you'll put the thread through on your first stitch, and you just want to make sure you've got the thread equal on both sides. So I'll just pull it, and you want about the same amount of thread on either side. And then to do your first stitch, so you do the first stitch, and then you also want to double check and make sure you've got the same amount of thread on either side. But then after that, you don't have to worry about it. It's just that first stitch. And then what I do, how I sew it, is I always start with my left hand. So I go to the next stitch over. I put the needle in my left hand all the way through. And then I grab it with my right hand with the needle still in the hand. I just bring it up like this so they're kind of touching and they make like an X or a cross. So I just bring it up like that, and I'll kind of put my fingers around it and pull it through with my right hand. And then what you can do after that is the needle that was in your right hand, while you're holding this thread, I pull it back away from me. And then I take the needle that's in my right hand and put it back through on the side of the hole that's closest to me. Hopefully this isn't super confusing. So I pull the thread this way, put the right needle through, and then I take the thread in my left hand and I wrap it over the top and towards me. And then I take the needle with my left hand, pull it through, and tighten it until it's nice and taut. And I usually just kind of tug it lightly 2 or 3 times, just twice usually. And then you can move on to the next stitch. So start with the left side, push it through. You grab that needle and pull it all the way through with your right hand while holding both needles at the same time. Kind of makes a cross like that. Pull it through, and then you hold the thread in your left hand, and you still got a hold of it in your right hand. You kind of pull it away from you. Take the needle that was in your right hand, push it back through the same hole. And then you take the thread in your left hand, wrap it around over the top and towards you. And then you can pull the needle through with your left hand and tighten. And that is how I do it. And then once I get to the end, I can show you how I backstitch too. But there's a quick little explanation for anyone who's wondering, and I can always go more into depth too in another video and show it a little better if you're wanting to, because I know that when I started out with saddle stitching, it was pretty confusing, and I'd hear different things from different people on how to do it, and I was just confused. And then, you know, how do you make the stitches look nice and pretty on both sides, and it can be a bit of a process, but this is the way that I found that I really like it, and it's comfortable for me. So in the end, you just kind of have to do whatever is most comfortable for you, and you know, chances are you could be doing it completely right, but it still doesn't look super good. And it's probably just because you haven't had a ton of practice with it yet, and you're still figuring it out and learning. Like, even doing the same method for me when I first started out, you know, after the first 6 months or so of doing it this way, like, the stitches looked fine, but they look so much better now that I've been doing it a few years than they did when I just barely started doing it this way. So it just takes some practice. The more you do it, the easier it'll be, the faster you'll get. And you really won't even have to think about it at all, or even like look sometimes as you're sewing. Your hands just know what to do and they do it. And then as well, the pricking irons that you use, I think, can also kind of change the look of your stitches. Like if you have a diamond shaped hole punches versus, you know, just like a straight one like I have, or just a circle. A lot of people will do circles. That also changes the look of the stitches. And it's really all just personal preference, how you want it to look. If you use a circular hole punch, then obviously the stitches will just be straight. They won't be slanted like this. Versus like if you use these diagonal hole punches or the diamond shaped ones. The diamond shaped ones they're still slanted like this. They're just not rectangular, I guess. They're shaped, the holes are shaped like a slanted diamond, basically. So that can also change what your stitches look like as well. And then the thickness of the thread is another thing that can change how it looks. And also with practice too, it'll look better over time, obviously. Okay, so we're getting up on the end here. And again, the way that I stitch is I always start with the left side, the needle that's in my left hand, put it through the next hole. I'll take it with my right hand with the needle, facing up like this. And I just kind of line it up and make an X. And then on this pointer finger, I grab the needle that's through the leather and I pull it through. And then I'll take the thread with my left hand. And then I'll put my fingers down like this and kind of wrap it around this way so that I can pull the thread away from me. So I've got my fingers here and I just pull it away like that. And then I can take the needle that's in my right hand here and you put it through the same hole on the side that's closer to you because the thread is further away from you in that hole. Because you want to make sure that you don't stab the thread as you're putting the second needle through. Otherwise it's a pain to fix. So you put it through on the side that's closer to you, and then you've got the thread further away, the needle closer to you, and then you take the thread over the top and towards you, and then you pull the needle through and just give it a little tug so it's nice and taut, but you don't want it super tight. You just want to pull it until it's not gonna tighten anymore. So you put the needle through, grab it with your right hand, wrap it around, pull it away from you, put the needle on the right side through, and then take the thread on the left side, wrap it up and around towards you, and then you can pull that needle through to the left, give it a light little tug, and then when you get to the end here, to back stitch, if you're hand stitching, you only need to back stitch at the end. But I think some people do back stitch at the beginning too, just to make it look the same, but you don't have to do that. So I'm doing my last stitch here. Put it through with my left hand, grab it with my right hand, pull the thread away from me, and then I stick the needle through on the side closer to me, bring it over the top and towards me, and then I grab the needle, pull it through, and to back stitch I basically do the opposite of that. So you'll go to the next stitch over, go backwards. You want to go backwards because we don't have any stitches left here. So you put it in the next stitch back, your left needle, and then do the same thing. You just kind of you've got your needle in your right hand, and then you kind of make a T or an X, pull it through with your right hand, and then I like to take my finger, and actually for back stitching I'm going to pull the thread towards me instead of away from me, and then I'm going to put the needle through on the right side, on the side of the hole that's further away, because I've got my thread coming towards me. So I'm going to put my needle through on the other side. Can't see. It's too dark over here. Why is this not going through? There we go. Okay. So I've got the thread coming towards me and then the needle on the other side, the far side. And then I'm going to wrap the thread with my left hand. I'm going to go underneath and away from me, like that. So you go underneath the needle and up. And then you pull it through and tighten. And then I usually do that just once. And then I'll take my left needle and just put it through to the other side. But if you want it to be more secure, you can always do a second back stitch. I just like to pull the thread through so that I've got both of my threads coming through on the same side. You don't have to do that. You can leave one on one side and one on the other side and do an extra back stitch if you want. Just kind of personal preference, but. And then you just gotta burn the ends off so that it doesn't come out. I keep hitting this. And then doing the back stitch the opposite way, you'll get the stitches to look exactly the same. So whenever you're wrapping the thread around, instead of it coming like around and towards you, you do it down and away from you. And that makes sure, like, here's a back stitch here. And then here's this back stitch here. So yeah, now we've got that all stitched up. I'll bring you guys back over here. Here we go. Okay. So here we've got our stitches. Let's see how we can get it to focus well or not. Those are our stitches there. So I think what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to take my roller real quick and flatten down the back side of these stitches, just so they lay a little bit flatter. Okay, and now all that's left to do is just sand, bevel, and burnish. So let's see. I'm gonna switch the camera here, and then see if I can get you to see my sander, which is right there. Maybe like that. You see that? Yeah. Okay. It might be a little dark over here. Maybe that'll help a little. Okay, so I'm going to use my sander, my electric sander here to make it go a little faster. So you guys aren't seeing me sand for forever. But alright, so we've got our edges sanded. And I'm going to go ahead and flip this back. Just like that. Okay, and now we've got our edges nice and sanded here. And actually, I think I'm just going to redo that real quick because I didn't get that corner. But other than that, it looks good. Okay. That looks a lot better there. Okay. Okay, there's one side. Now we'll do this side here. And I probably need to sharpen my beveler, honestly. Is there anyone else out there who hates sharpening their tools? Because I totally hate it, but definitely is a necessary thing. Okay. Alright, now we can do the fun part, which is burnishing. Make these edges look nice and pretty. Let's see if it's gonna work. I have a tendency to not close my bottles back up, and then it kind of dries out at the top. There we go. That was a lot. What's in the squeeze bottle? So this is Toconol, and I believe I put some water in it as well just to kind of help it come out of the bottle, because this is such a small little thing. So I think it's 2 parts Toconol, 1 part water in the bottle. And I really love Toconol. That's like the only thing that I use to finish my edges. So I think it just looks really nice. It's really inexpensive too. You can find it just on Amazon for a couple dollars. And like you can see already, it just looks really nice and shiny just after running over it real quick with your burnisher. And a little bit of this Toconol goes a long way too. Like just this amount that I put on will be plenty to go all the way around this corner easily. So we just got this left to do, and then to about here. I really like using this bottle because it makes it a lot easier to use. So this is what the tokenol looks like. It just comes in a little container like this. And rather than, you know, like dipping your finger in the container or using some sort of applicator thing, this squeeze bottle is really nice because you just run it along and then you're good to go. It's nice and simple. And I think it came in a pack of 3. I just got it on Amazon and it works really great. It looks like we're almost done here. Okay. Looks pretty good there. Hopefully you guys can see that okay, what the finished product looks like. It's nice and smooth. And we've got a finished passport wallet. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take my bone folder through all the pockets real quick. So we've got 2 slots here for cards. You could have your ID, credit card, whatever. And then you've got this pocket and this pocket where a passport will fit. And you can honestly, you can even put your passport in here to make it easier to take in and out. This could fit your vaccination card, plane ticket, whatever you want to put in there, just random things. You could also slide some cash kind of where it can't be seen in one of these pockets. And yeah, that's what the finished product looks like. So I think with that, we're gonna probably end this live for today. I will be doing this again next Saturday at probably a little earlier, so like 11 a.m. Central next Saturday, because I have my baby shower to go to. So, and then I might actually do some more lives this week. just some surprise ones here and there, random days. But thanks for tuning in, guys. I'll have this up on my channel pretty soon here, so if there's anything else that you want to see, you can go look back on it. I also did a little tutorial on how to stitch while I was doing that, so if you're interested in that, you can go look at it there. And yeah, thanks for being here today. We'll see you guys on the next one.